Title 17 U.S. Code 512F provides penalties for the deliberate misrepresentation of copyright infringement. The owners and authors of this video, the common denominator, and the Paramystic Broadcast Channel are a nonprofit 501c3 exempt organization and believes in good faith that it constitutes educational fair use, as per Title 17 U.S.C. 107. Persons, agencies, attorneys, and or social media algorithms filing a false or frivolous Digital Millennium Copyright Act complaint may be subject to civil liability. Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Accordingly, viewer discretion is advised.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields the bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was put him.
Welcome to week 2 of What's Really Going On in America podcast. And I have something a little interesting that should tick off every single American in this country. I get a lot of people who will also disagree, even on the conservative side, but then there are those who do agree with me on this. And that is the rewriting of the Constitution and it's not on paper, it's not by law, but it's on a government website, whitehouse.gov. Now, we've been fighting for our constitutional rights because they keep the government in check. But what happens when you have a presidential administration that just takes it upon themselves to go on a government website, rewrite most of the Constitution, and especially the one website to which law students should be able to go on and get the preserved Constitution. We just end up in chaos. And so let's show the actual so let's show the Second Amendment, the actual one. Okay, what you're seeing there is actually the rewritten Second Amendment, gives citizens the right to bear arms. That is on whitehouse.gov. And if we know anything about the real Constitution, it says a well-regulated militia being necessary to a security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, you gun owners should be really, really ticked off at that. I mean, it's bad enough that Biden said the Constitution is not absolute, but for his administration to rewrite it on a GOV website, .gov simply means a government website, which is taxpayer funded. So I was looking at some others which I didn't get time to, show. But if you look at the First Amendment, the actual one says the right of the people peacefully to assemble. Now, let's go to the whitehouse.gov. It says here, it protects the freedom of speech, the press, assembly, and the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The word peaceful to peacefully has been taken out of the .gov. Now, if you think that's something, now one of the big topics is people are thinking the Civil War. We're gonna have a civil war. Okay, well, the actual Constitution for the Third Amendment, no soldier shall be in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. What does .gov say? Your government website prohibits the government from quartering troops in private homes, a major grievance during the American Revolution. So, with that being said, imagine we go in now. That Third Amendment wasn't just for revolutionary time, that's for all time, for any war that we may go through, including the Civil War. Because let me tell you, and that's written in there because of our property rights. The government cannot use our property without our permission. So, and that's just the first three constitutional amendments. Now, now in the comments, do you think this is treason? Please, I would like an answer, your honest answer on that. I know many, say Biden should be locked up, put in a nursing home, but I would love to hear your answers. Do you think what the Biden administration did with this constitution of theirs is an act of treason and should be taken up in the courts, even though he's unfit for trial because, But anyway, and so yeah, this has me upset. I believe it's an act of treason. I think Joe Biden should face charges, should be locked up, and throw away the key. So anyone in the audience think I'm speaking the truth? Anyone think it's no big deal? Because we actually have some Republicans who say it's not a big deal. And that we have the original. Yeah. I can hear you, brother, speak the truth. Thank you, Paramystic. And so, but yeah, it's Susie. I have not heard you speak a lie. Thank you, Susie. Absolutely. And this is what we need. We definitely, because you know what? Let's take a look at the First Amendment. We know there were riots, which they called what is it called again? Oh yes, to peacefully assemble. And according to CNN report, it was mostly peaceful. But if we're going by the Joe Biden administration constitution, they did not violate the Constitution. What a joke. And then there's so many gun laws. That's right, so many gun laws that we have that are being infringed upon. And I'll tell you why that is. Because if the First Amendment does not work for us, if our founding fathers knew that one day our government would be so corrupted that no matter how hard they tried to keep checks and balances, that the First Amendment may not be enough. And that we would have to do exactly what they did when the king took over. When we had to take over the king, I should say. And then, so the government knows this. They do everything in their power to instill fear in we the people, that we practically beg them for gun safety laws. Because, who wants to die, right? I understand that. We want to survive. We want to live. They did know. That is why they use very specific language. Exactly. And good point, Susie. They were very careful in how they worded the Constitution in the original Constitution, our founding fathers. And we have Joe Biden, the Biden administration, just taking it all away from us because they want to reword it. They want to say, oh, it's not absolute. In other words, they don't want we the people to be their bosses. They want to take our money, but then do whatever they want. That would now WRGOA, what's really going on in America, is a LLC registered in Pennsylvania. So I'm an owner. And hopefully I start making, I'm hoping to start making money through donations or preferably sales of my cool t-shirts of Human Lives Matter. But, and here's the thing, I would love to hire people to help with this company. But first I gotta make the money. So with that being said, imagine if people imagine me being paid and I don't work for you. Imagine me offering a service and I don't give it to you. That's what our government wants. They want to take our money and not offer us anything but to rule over. Imagine if I made employees pay me to have their job. That would make no sense. The government's supposed to work for us. Our founding fathers, lived prior to the freedom. They were ruled over by a king. And it would not surprise me if even back then the king had some spies in America wanting to take back this country. But then eventually the king died. Then eventually the government stopped caring. You have Susie says you will have you shut your mouth and be happy. Basically, yeah. Good point. You will have nothing. So, good point, Susie. Good point. But anyway, so yeah. Our founding fathers came from tyranny. The very tyranny that, we're heading back into. Having the government rule over us, making the Constitution. Oh, it's okay, Susie. My cell phone does the same thing as well. And who knows, it could be by flawed design on purpose. So we have bad communication or misunderstand one another. Sometimes mine even will even what you call it. I'll type in a word, and then when I use the space key, it changes the whole word, and then I press enter, and then it's like, no, I didn't want to use that word. A Marxist socialist government. Yes, exactly right, pessimistic. So, yeah, and you notice how we get into defund the police and all that other nonsense that we have. Well, I think what I'm thinking, and think about it too. In schools, they teach us all about the president and vice president, but they don't teach us every position in government, do they? I know I didn't learn it. I had to learn through many of my friends in the local government, right here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So, yeah, it's frustrating that I had to learn a lot on my own because our schools were purposely making us dumber. And I think they're trying to, change our president to king. I think what they want is, who knows, maybe a married couple become like king and queen, president, vice president, because they definitely want to rule. They don't honor the oath to the Constitution. And who are we voting in? The same people who are not fighting for us. We definitely need to change it up in our government, or it's just going to get worse. So, in our Constitution, you know, many people say this about marriage. It's just a piece of paper. Susie says they teach lies today. I was taught the president served the people. They teach now that the president is toilet? Is the toilet. Well, we can definitely say Biden belongs in the toilet. Change by our birthright. Vote. Absolutely. That's another thing I wanted to bring up today. There are many people out there who say, I'm not going to vote because it doesn't matter anyway. Let me assure you, your vote, your legal vote matters, regardless of what anyone says. And many people will say, well, they'll just cheat. Well, good. Let them cheat. President is Susie says the president is ruler, as in what they now teach. So, thank you, Susie, for that correction. I understand the cell phone, so I'm not gonna fault you for their flawed designs. But yeah, going back to the voting, we need to vote. And we need to go by, and you're thinking, well, what about the immigrants? They'll end up voting. Guess what? We need to get rid of the machines and go back to paper voting. We need to hold our government accountable. We need to stop allowing them to rule over us and retake back the country. We can no longer. Oh yes, good point, Susie. Paper ballots with vote ID, same day counting. Absolutely. We did in the 1700s, we did in the 1800s, and we didn't have the machines until, I can't even think of when we first had the machines to count for us in the 1900s. but if we can do it in the 1800s when we were a big country, we can do it in the 1900s. We could do it in 2024. And to be honest, we actually need to be, we the people need to be able to have the power to impeach any corrupted elected official or installed. If you're looking at Biden, we can't trust the government. Trump, the 17th president, I would imagine the 45th with the correction error, but let me know, Susie. But yes, but yeah, it's time that we need, we the people have the right to impeach our elected or installed officials, because we can no longer trust our government to take action. Absolutely not. It's just, look at our country. We're saying, why aren't the Republicans doing anything? Let's see. I'm going to say this. Any politician who opposes Trump or does not help Trump is actually in it for the money, and they've been getting kickbacks. Going back to before the US became a corporation. Yes, I love that, Susie. America had, I do believe, since I was born, the US had became a big corporation. Exactly, pessimistic. Money and power. Two things they love. And you know what? My website, WRGOA, we're gonna have we're gonna start a presidential profile, so you will know beyond the two-party system. And the website's in the works right now. It just got a few things needed to make it, to my perfection. But we will be doing that as soon as we know the nominees for the main elections. And here in Pennsylvania, in order to even do primary elections, which should be illegal for this to happen, I can't, as a third party person, which is me, I'm a constitutionalist, pure constitutionalist. So being registered under that, I couldn't even vote in the primaries. So I went with registered Republican, just so I can vote for the primaries. But it should be my right to I should be able to vote for anything I want, for anyone I want, at any election. Nothing should hold me back, especially being registered to a party that big government doesn't want us to interfere as a third party kind of guy. So Susie says Abraham Lincoln was the last president. Trump will become the 17th president. Well, I see what you're saying. Abe Lincoln was the best. He started the Republican, around his time, started the Republican Party. And I actually learned that it wasn't the North versus South that was about the Civil War was Democrats versus Republicans. One side wanted slavery, and the other side didn't. And so, but yeah, Trump definitely was the best president in my lifetime, and he opened my eyes to many things, especially to rhinos. So, which is Republican in name only. And most of my life, I've heard, oh, we should vote Democrat, we should vote Republican. And for the longest time, I picked one of the two. I'm like, okay, I'll vote for Republican because I get the best tax refund. But Susie says, good versus evil. God always wins. That is true. God will always wins. And we can go through good versus evil in greater detail according to what God says another time. But as far as evil, secular evil is very, very obvious. And that's definitely what the Democrats have been doing. They want to bring back slavery. They were spending money on migrants, you know, given, we're paying for the housing, the food, and everything, while families are starving, while Americans are trying to struggle. Basically, we're becoming Venezuela. And even the new president of Venezuela actually warned against socialism. But once again, the leftists don't want to hear it for some odd reason. Because, they say, oh, put Joe Biden in because he has experience. But let's not listen to an experienced socialist new president in Venezuela who lived under socialism, who has experienced it. But let's not listen to him because basically because those are the people that do not want to work for what they have. They want you and me to pay for their living, even though they can work. Now, I will have to agree with the leftists on one thing. Many people get into management, but they don't know how to be leaders. So they become tyrants in the workplace. So, can I understand that? Yes. This is why we need more entrepreneurs out there. And this is why we need to support entrepreneurs such as myself, along with anyone else who's a local business, especially if they're a patriot business, because it's easy to order anything we want from Amazon, but we shouldn't, because they will betray us politically. They're a big company. They will give to a tyrannical government the money you spend on them. I rather support your business, your organization, rather than these big corrupted businesses. And I say this too. If you're to all the authors, if you're going to do an ebook, go on Nook. Go to the Barnes & Noble. Not Kindle anymore. Because I will not use a Kindle. After I'm done reading one final book, the last one I bought that I will ever buy from them. And I definitely, and space is limited, so I use ebook. But yeah, let's make a habit. And you know what? Here we are, many of us on Facebook, Instagram. Did you know that Gab.com is so free speech that I could say anything I want and not be penalized for it? And on top of that, they were so free speech, they refuse to censor anything we would say. And the Apple and the Google Play apps will not allow them to place an app on their app stores. So how do I have an Gab app on my phone? I just three simple rules. Go to gab.com, click the three little dots, and basically and put it on the home screen, and it becomes an app through the internet browser. And it's pretty good, actually. And I would suggest we all use it. And you're worried about TikTok being because it's Chinese, which I totally agree. But did you know that you can get the Getter, Gettr? It actually has what we call a G-Talk. So I would support them as opposed to TikTok. So does anyone in the audience have any questions? I'll do questions and answers at this moment. I know I'm all over the place. Maybe I have a little ADHD. But at least you can't, hopefully I'm fun. But hey. So, going back to the Constitution, if we don't fight this thing, we're going to have many, many problems in the future. And it's going to bite us. Like, the leftists are going to see it. In fact, a leftist I shown saw it, and they quoted to me, it's not a rewritten Constitution. It's just explained. So they're supporting it. They're supporting the Biden administration doing what they did. Do you put Karo, maple syrup, or honey on your Cheerios? Oh, let me. Cheerios, cereals. I will not eat many of the cereals. Many I learned, like, 10 years ago, they put trisodium phosphate in our foods, especially in cereals. And Cheerios is one of them. And it's not even it's an additive. It's a poison. Waffles, pancakes, or French toast? Yes, definitely, Don. I do. I sometimes will use Carol Sarah, but mostly I will use the maple syrup that costs like $23 just for a 32-ounce jar of it, because it don't have all these stinking additives to it. But I don't even eat it that much. I try to eat a little healthier, especially trying to stay away from anything with chemicals in it, which is nearly impossible. What are your views of Trump having to stand trial, but Biden no trial as his excuse? Be an old man. Oh, wow. My view of Trump having to stand trial while while telling many attorneys, more than likely top-notch attorneys, that they're not allowed to represent him, that Trump would be forced to go as low as he could go. His trials are not fair. It violates I believe the Sixth Amendment rights. It should be televised for all of us to see, for transparency of our judge, for any judge that's, you know, and it should be televised by a third party person, for total transparency, so nothing said doesn't get edited out. And as far as Biden, if he is not fit for a trial, how is he fit for president? Because it being if you're president or even elected in any office, you could be a city hall council person. You are held to a higher accountability. So, with that being said, if you're not fit for trial or accountability, you should not be running for office at all. You need to get out. Biden administration is responsible for all human trafficking on the border. Phil went to the border and had officially said the kids definitely were put into targeting prostitution areas and sweatshop areas. Isn't this beyond impeachment at this point? Absolutely. To be honest, it's not just Biden, but the majority of our government that not only is involved in it, but for those that know that they're involved in it, but don't use the wonderful word impeachment, needs to be impeached as well, needs to be held accountable. Like Nikki Haley, if she was president, she would ignore it because she's getting, like Vivek said, she would send your child overseas to die so she can get a bigger house. And most of our government has been corrupted, but see, you got one side that does all the corruption, and you got the majority of the other side, which are rhinos, sit on their hands and do nothing at all. And then you got Mindy Robinson actually said this, and I agree with her on this. Only a handful of Republicans are actually doing anything about the corruption. Um, what Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of my favorite people. She uses the wonderful language of impeachment constantly. You can call her impeachment happy all you want, but it's needed at this moment. It's needed. We can't, you know, they sold their souls to the elites. Eh, Yes, absolutely. Susie, that is absolutely correct. They sold their souls indefinitely. That is something I would never do with WRGOA. I would never sell my soul to speak any lies to you. It, you know, I'll get many people hating what I say, but truth is truth. If it's biblical or if it's political, I will always be honest. And and but it it just it just sickens me. The country that, our founding fathers worked so hard to give us, that they died for, and how many people died, in wars in the 1800s. You got many who died in the Civil War that we know about. In the 1900s, World War One, World War Two, G-Day or D-Day, in Iraq and all this, and probably many more I don't even know about. And we're just saying, screw you guys who lived, who died for the country. We want things our way, and we don't want to work. So we will gladly destroy your lives so we can enrich ours. You know, and one in this so yeah, when I vote, I don't vote, I will never vote all the way down the party line. I will figure out other candidates in my local areas that are running, if there's more than two parties, of course. And if I find someone like a libertarian, a constitutionalist, heck, if I find out there's someone, Susie says, Jesus said they will hate you because they hate me. Trump says they want to hurt us. He's just standing in their way. Well, as far as Jesus, you're right. And remember, it was the religious people that hated Jesus first. The government had no issue with him. They only took issue after he died, rose, and then they got scared because the following just kept growing. The government didn't even care about Jesus until the Sadducees and the Pharisees, the religious people, got involved first. And then as far as Trump, he has issues. I will admit that he has issues, but none of them are legal issues. That's a proven fact. And yes, he is just standing in their way. But look at all the money that he had to spend on court costs, attorney fees, and so-called losing. They're trying to bankrupt him. They're trying to take They're trying to make it so he becomes as poor as you and I. And because he doesn't play ball with the corruption, with the corrupted. And even though Trump has issues, I do give him credit where credit's due. Unlike a leftist who thinks he's all bad. Not going to happen. We'll see about that, Susie. I mean, it's my hope that he's able to stay a billionaire. But let me tell you, they will do everything possible to drain the heck out of him. If not drain him, at least, I'm sure that money's going to go to Donald Trump Jr., who fully supports his father. So if he was to die, Donald Trump Jr., I would say, would rise. At least that would be my hope. He has more money than some of the elites. Yeah, he does. But remember, Job was a very, very, very rich man back in his day. And he lost everything. If we remember our Old Testament. And our government may say a few Bible verses while being anti-Bible. I don't know how that works, but they know the Bible, and they know how to use it for evil, just like the snake knows how to use the Bible for evil in the garden. And then, so we have, so yeah, I do have hope. I do, for this country. But we, the people, have to start supporting one another. We have to, instead of the big elites, we got to start connecting with other patriots in this country. And we got to start supporting their businesses and organizations. And so forth. He would be president even if he went broke doing it. I do believe Trump would never give up. I don't doubt Trump would ever give up, no matter how persecuted he is. That man, knows how he draws a crowd everywhere he goes. And plus, we would be donating to him if he really needed us to. Like, nothing would stop him. And I do support him as a president. He did the most for this country. He loves America. He loves us. And it's shown. It's shown within the 4 years when... Now, did I agree with everything he said and did? No. In the Candace Owens interview, he said the jab is the best invention that of humankind. But and if we were in a cult, as the leftists say we are, we would all get the jab because Trump said it. But we're not in a cult because we can disagree with him from time to time when he says something, just like he can disagree with us. But the one thing he didn't do was force anything upon us. He just gave his opinion. And that's how you're supposed to be as a human being. Give your opinion, but don't force it upon anyone. Unlike the Biden administration that tried to get me jabbed. And I didn't even sign a piece of paper about it either when they were handed out in one of my workplaces in the warehouse with over 100 people. Oops, broke the law. Big whoop. Besides, I was always overlooked in that place anyway. Oh well. That being invisible has its advantages sometimes. But hey, we're almost out of time. If you wanna follow what's really going on in America directly, you can find me on Facebook, WRGOA. Just type in WRGOA in the search bar, and you can find us. We have over 17K followers. Always willing to have more, especially if they're patriots and less trolls. On if you have YouTube, you can find me at use the at sign WRGOA. And then on Rumble, you can find me at WRGOA. And also, go to my website, WRGOA.com/shop, and grab yourself a Human Lives Matter t-shirt. Because this is the one t-shirt they don't want us to wear. Because we're acknowledging that we are all, that good, decent people are human beings if we are white, black, brown. Absolutely, Paramystic. It was an honor having you. It's definitely an honor having you here too. So, but yeah, grab yourself a Human Lives Matter t-shirt, and believe it or not, I actually got Mindy Robinson got a t-shirt, and she helped me promote it on her platform too. So, and like I said, this is a good day to unite as good, decent human beings. And I want to thank Susie for your comments, your questions. They are very much appreciated. I hope that we see you again. And we are out.
a generation of my time.